Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Superbike rider Kyle Wyman. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel for more coverage, and also like or comment below.
As you can see, it is a beautiful day here, minus the heat, bluebird skies, the evergreens in the background, the hills, the dales of the Ridge Motorsports Park at Shelton, Washington. I said it was a beautiful day except for the heat. Sir, get away from the tarmac. You may melt at any moment. Temperature in the 90s, going to be up in the mid to upper 100, up to 108 degree temperatures today. Roger Hayden, I'm Robbie Floyd. I don't think, have they seen racing? I know they haven't, because this is the hottest, it'll be the hottest day on record if they get that 108 mark.
Yeah, it's going to be the hottest day ever here in Washington. They're talking about breaking records all weekend, so these guys are going to have their work cut out for them today. The tires are going to be going to have to manage those. They're going to get real hot and sticky, and also not just for the riders, but also the crews. They're going to have to, manage the heat as well.
As we get ready for our first race of the day, as they make their way to the starting line here in just a moment, the Stock 1000s. And again, it's our first of 5 races this afternoon. We had a great day of racing yesterday. And we talk about Corey Alexander being the fastest on day 1. Can he back it up, Roger Hayden, on day 2? I don't see anything stopping him from what I saw yesterday.
I don't see anything stopping him either, especially after the first Superbike race yesterday. He was, really fast there, consistent. Was a top 6 guy in Superbike yesterday on the Stock 1000, and he came through the pack yesterday. And
he did.
I guess the big question today is going to be, can those guys match his pace the last 3 or 4 laps that he had?
Because it seemed like he had a little something left. Jake Lewis was the fastest guy for the early portion of that race, and it looked like he had pretty much checked out. That was until about 5 laps from the end. He said it in his post-race interview. He said, I knew I was in trouble. He just didn't know how quick he'd get there. And what, about a lap and a half later, here come Corey Alexander, and he gone. Michael Gilbert would end up finishing 3rd in the first Stock 1000 race. Now, one thing different from the starting procedures, am I wrong? I think it's all 5 classes are going to be doing quick start procedures today due to the heat.
I know Stock 1000 is doing quick start for sure. This class will be quick start. So
I thought I heard somebody in the Twins say that, and somebody told me I thought that every class was going to be doing it, and it makes sense because it is hot.
Yesterday was every class besides Super Sport and Superbike had normal grids.
Yeah, and the reason being, and you can account to this, Roger, the bikes are getting cooled down when they're going around the track because air's flowing through the radiators. When they stop and they sit still, that's when they don't get the airflow, and that's when bikes get their hottest.
And even for the riders as well, they do this warm-up lap, they come around, and when they stop on the grid, that's when you start getting the hottest, because you don't have that airflow coming through your leathers. You have the heat from the asphalt coming up, you have the heat from the engine that you're sitting on, and you just start getting really, really hot while you're sitting there waiting for the race.
As we take a look at our winner from yesterday, Corey Alexander, let's take a look at what happened yesterday here at the Ridge. Our MotoAmerica Flashback. Day 1. There's the 23 moving on up. And you see you get by Jake Lewis, and Jake Lewis putting on a charge, giving a little chicken wing. Actually, that was at Virginia. Thought it was yesterday, and it might have been. We've seen these two battle back and forth, and I thought lost his last year's Easter egg. Then you follow it up with Road America, and those two are at the front end of the sharp end of the stick as well. But Jeff May, that was his day in the 99.
It was. He looked really good early, but you can see where Jake Lewis made this pass into 5, held on the last couple laps to take the win.
And a repeat win for Jake Lewis. And that was coming into this weekend as we take a look at the standings after our first day of 2 here today. Hudson Valley Motorsports Entry trying to do it once again. Here's the points. Only 17. He made up 5 yesterday. Can he make up 5 more today? Michael Gilbert still within reach. Travis Wyman having some issues yesterday. 33 points back. Still don't count them out. We're not quite to that halfway point, but there's several guys that can win races, so that means that there could be big points variances week in, week out. Throw Andrew Lee in the mix, Wyatt Fair, Stefano Mesa not with us this weekend, but that's one of those things. You can have a bad day, and there could be a lot of people between 1st and 6th that could really hurt you in points.
And Stefano Mesa and also Jeff May at a lot of races when we head back east, and then this weekend you have Andy DeBrino that could, have the pace to to win or even get on the podium. So you're right. If one of the guys has a bad weekend, you can make up a lot of points pretty quick, but that also, you can lose a lot of points really fast as well.
122 on the track. It's 91 right now. It's going to be almost 15 degrees hotter than that later on. I know these guys aren't missing it at all, but remember, guys, you're seeing the Stock 1000. For the most part, they're going to be in the Superbike Cup later on today, racing with the Hano Superbikes. And speaking of the Hano Superbikes, riders like Jake Lewis and Corey Alexander looking pretty impressive in the Hano Superbike, especially Corey Alexander. 6th place up against the big bad boys and the bad bikes. That was very impressive on the Stalker.
That was really impressive, and also his gap to the Superbikes weren't that big really. So he's, whatever they've been struggling with earlier in the year, even this weekend, they didn't look you know, that confident. They got it figured out yesterday's race, and that win looks like it's gave him a lot of confidence.
Take a look at our starting grid here for today. Jake Lewis will start on pole. That'll be the inside lane as they make that left-hand turn. Travis Wyman, Andy DeBrino on the front row. The local favorite, Michael Gilbert, finished 3rd yesterday. Andrew Lee trying to get up there on the box as well. Don't count out the Honda of Ashton Yates. We work our way through the field. Corey Alexander, once again, going to have to start from that 3rd row. But we saw if there's anybody that can make passes, it's Corey Alexander. Jeremy Coffey went off the track yesterday, crashed, picked it back up, and still salvaged points. I was also impressed with Jeremy yesterday.
And he's been fast all weekend. He's having his best weekend so far, even on Friday, qualifying in the top 10. He was excited.
Logan Merman, even Munoz. Shake and Bake Shakespeare starting on row 6. He got a couple of points yesterday, finishing inside that top 15 in 14th place, just ahead of Jeremy Coffey. But again, this is your starting grid brought to you by Cardo Systems. Pick your favorite rider, follow along. You'll see the time and the scoring, or you'll see the riders list on the left side of your screen. When we get to the racing, you can always follow along on MotoAmerica.com. Live time and the scoring. Those of you watching on MotoAmerica Live Plus, we're always trying to keep you honest. Cody Cochran, he really doesn't look that mean. He's really a nice guy in person. He's going to have some work to do if he's going to get up there in those points paying positions. The picture doesn't tell the story, Roger Hayden. This is our first race of 5 today, and it looks like that could be Road America and a 60-degree day. It's not. It's Washington State, and it'll be a 100-plus degree day.
And me being from Kentucky, you know, I'm kind of used to the humidity being really hot. This right here is one of the hottest days that I've ever been around. I've been to Malaysia, you know, before testing, and it's really hot. It's going to be difficult for these riders, not only, you know, in the races, but also trying to hydrate and stay cool before the race starts.
There's the fans, making sure they're staying hydrated. Throw on some sunblock as well. Get the umbrellas out. Give some blockage. That gentleman's got it. He's got the hat with the towel over the side. He probably dips it in water. We'll remind everybody that adult alcoholic beverages does not mean hydration. Just, of course, just got to drink of water here and there. Jake Lewis, did he find a little anything between yesterday and today? Because he lost it towards the end. He knows what he has to do. Do you think he found anything in that 15-minute warm-up this morning?
I know they were working hard, and they had that second Superbike race yesterday where they can make some changes as well.
It is going to be a quick start here, and Jake Lewis, nobody going to get him on the whole shot. That Suzuki GSXR Altus Motorsport entry launched towards turn 1. Ashton Yates, ooh, man, he had a little bit of a bad angle there, trying to get into 3rd and close off whoever that other Kawasaki is. Might have been Gilbert. Might have been Andrew Lee. That Honda, look at that race for 3rd. Now they're going uphill. Some elevation changes here at this track, almost 2.5 miles in length.
Yeah, you can see right now kind of how this track, it falls away right there into turn 5.
This is a 13-lap adventure. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a hot one. Andy DeBrino already up there, the
Jake
62.
Lewis is smoking.
Uh-oh. Now that could be anything. I mean, is the bike letting go? Does he? It almost looked like it was on the outside there. Is there maybe oil on the exhaust? Something. He hopes that's the case. He hopes there's not oil dripping onto the exhaust, because if they see that, they'll give you the meatball and tell you to pull in. Also, if you're the rider behind, you don't want to get in his tracks. Probably that's the most important thing, Roger.
It's the most uneasy thing when you're behind the guy and they're smoking in front of you because you think it's oil. You can already see he knows there's a problem.
It's getting it got onto the rear tire. That is unfortunate. That's something that was right from the start. You saw it, so that's something in preparation. Just wasn't right. We saw it yesterday with Hunter Dunham, and you see raising his hand there. what happened? Maybe it was a pass whenever he went off track and he's giving him that position again. I mean, that'd be awful nice to do, but it might be the right thing to do. When Jake Lewis pulled off, maybe Yates took advantage of it. It was a spot that he probably felt like it wasn't right.
I think Andy, whenever he got in front of him, he ripped a tear off. That's what that was.
Okay. I thought he was raising his hand going like, my bad, and I know, and then, hey, let's get back to racing, because oftentimes, I mean, you don't want to clean out that guy that's pulling off. But look at this, on lap number 2 of 13, we're already missing the guy who's out in the points. Jake Lewis, you talked about it, how there's so many ways you can gain an advantage in a race like this, and there's one that can really kill you, and that's a DNF.
Going to leave out here, especially Corey Alexander comes in here, gets another win today, maximizes the 25 points. It's going to move Jake from first down to second in the points.
Yeah, then he was 17 going into this race. That's if he can hold on to this. Jake Lewis, hey, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, because there's Andy DeBrito wanting to win this thing out in front of Ashton Yates. Corey Alexander back in third. You see Travis Wyman looking much better. He's back in fifth. He's that white BMW. There he is. We don't really know what happened. We're hearing a couple of conflicting stories. Sometimes they don't want to tell us the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. But either way, it looks like Travis Wyman's right today.
He's looked good early in this race, hanging right onto these 5 guys in front of him. Even Danilo Lewis is having a strong pace right there with the top 6 guys.
And this is a race where we saw it was kind of Danilo Lewis's breakout race last year. They pushed the 85 behind the wall. We've been told that Jake Lewis is behind the wall, will not resume action. But this was Danilo Lewis's breakout race last year. It just showed us how fast he could be. You know, the possibility was there. You hear a lot of tire chatter coming in there. I mean, these guys are really hard on the brakes. The track's only going to get greasier, and it is not a function of the tires necessarily going away, but the track itself, that surface is going to get hotter and hotter, and that bike's going to want to move up underneath them.
Especially as the race goes on, as the tires wear out, as they get hotter. If their bikes are moving around a little bit now, it's going to be a lot worse. Just wait a couple laps.
11 laps to go. This little portion right here is not typical for racing here at the Ridge. Actually, they would normally start and swing around right where they're going through right now, and that would be the turn 1. But now, I mean, it's still considered turn 1 for us, but we have that chicane that they brought in for MotoAmerica. Andy DeBrito with the fastest lap. Ashton Yates, actually, the last time around going fastest, 1:44.09. They tied. DeBrito and Ashton Yates exactly the same on their fast lap.
And all the top 6 are all within a couple tenths that last lap.
Having that one guy that has been a Honda Superbike rider out in front, Jake Lewis, do you think these guys are riding a little more at ease as we look at that race for second and third there? Corey Alexander fighting away. Oh, and Yates had to stand it up. I mean, he just shot through.
It's kind of what we seen yesterday when somebody opened the door. You can see Corey seems like he's been patient this race. Didn't get a good start, kind of working his way through. Knows that Jake Lewis is out. There he goes again, taking the lead.
It looks like everybody's backing off. He's just going that fast, Roger. That doesn't even look right.
It's just these corners are kind of, a lot of them are double apexes where you get in, you drift up a little bit, and you leave the inside open. The fast line, you leave the inside open, and opens the door for guys. And
we saw that in another class the other day. Rocco Landers and Ben Smith, he got into it. Smith is in his typical line, and here come Rocco underneath. Could have had a situation like that, but Yates is able to recognize it a little early and stand that bike up. But Yates goes from a race for the lead right now. Here's a look at that pass one more time. You're not going to pass anybody following him. Look at him, a little more outside, diving to the inside.
And you could tell he set that up before the corner started. You've seen him getting in that corner, and he was a little bit on the outside. Sometimes
it's a benefit actually being behind somebody, right? I mean, you just want to do something a little different than them. If you're in the tracks, it makes it a little tougher. You're seeing DeBrito trying to close in on Alexander now. He doesn't want to let him walk away.
And also, Corey Alexander had the fastest lap of the race that lap, and he had to pass 2 guys, so you know he's got some more left in him.
You know what's crazy looking at it? It looks like those other guys were going slower. It looked like Corey Alexander was running his racing lines, even though there was somebody in front of him. That felt like it was the line that he wanted to run because he was going that fast. So often you'll come to tracks, there wasn't many places for passing. It's a one-line track. We're not seeing that. We're definitely not seeing that out of Corey Alexander.
No, Corey definitely has the passes set up here. You know, the tricky part about the passing here is you have to set it up the corner before. enter a little wider, then cut down. So he's definitely doing a really good job of setting his passes up.
Kawasaki, Kawasaki, Kawasaki. 1, 2, and 3. Alexander DeBrino and Michael Gilbert, the 55. Could Gilbert be that sleeper? Actually, it's still the Honda, still in third.
Well, Ashton just passed him into 12.
Yeah, but just getting by. I will say, do you think Gilbert could have possibly been that sleeper? He's always that guy that just always seems to be there towards the end. We've seen in years past with himself and same Stefano Mesa and Andrew Lee. He's once again right there in the mix.
Just seemed really consistent this year, always either on the podium or right there to get on it. Even some of the races where we didn't think he was going to be there, when the race came, he found the speed, and he goes straight in the chicane.
Oh, just as we was talking him up, he has to shoot him down, and that's going to be, he's going to have to give up all of those positions. We saw that was a point of contention for some of our classes. And we found out yesterday there was actually a penalty in one of the classes when one of the race leaders went straight after he took the checkered flag, and he got deducted 5 seconds, and that affected him. Well, it affected him right there. He had to give up all those positions and take it back. Corey Alexander, Andy DeBrino, 1 and 2. Ashton Yates, the 22 Honda, the Jones Honda, back in third. Michael Gilbert still showing in fourth. I think Wyman should have gotten by him. And that is the case. You see the white bike there now in fourth. And that's what you have to do. You have to basically give up that position. You can't make it an advantage by blowing that section.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You do not want to make it an advantage. And also, you don't even want to leave it close for the official to have to even look to see if you made an advantage. Even if you have to give up, a couple more tenths or another second, you do not want to take the other penalty.
Yeah, and in that time, he not only gave up, some of that time, but he gave up position as well. You heard Corey Alexander say at the end of yesterday's race about, he's been working with the Graves Kawasaki. Maybe they found something right with that engine or that motor package, the way that it's working with that bike, because he does look negligibly faster this weekend that I've seen him. He'd been up there. We saw him battling the lead race wins before, but he looks like he's got it all dialed in this week.
I think this week is more they get it set up right.
Yeah,
more than the engine, whatever the suspension settings that they have is they found whatever Corey's been looking for all year, and we've seen this out of him before. He's not like we're surprised that he's winning, but whatever he's been looking for, it looks like they found it.
This is like what we expected in Atlanta in race 1, and they just didn't have this feel, but he's definitely got it now. Still hanging in there is DeBrino and Yates. You see him in the backdrop every little bit. That's the Honos Kawasaki out in front. The Jones Honda in third, with the Kawasaki of Andy DeBrino, number 62, in between. Ridge Motorsports Park, DeBrino Racing entry. And when you're sponsored by the track itself, you're expected to go fast. He did just that yesterday, just off the podium in fourth. He lamented the fact that he was in second the year before and let it get away. This time he's trying to not only make it on the podium, he still wants that win, and how sweet it would be to do it at your home track.
And even just get on the podium here at your home track, I think for a guy putting his own program together would be a pretty good feeling. And right now he's looking pretty good. Look at Ashton.
Whoa. DeBrino's way on that outside, and you got to give it up sometime. That was a great job by Ashton, just putting his bike in the right spot.
That was a great pass. Just whenever you're making a pass like that, you just have to be a little bit in front of them, and you have the corner.
I always felt like a half a bike's that much, but I'm sure you're saying, no, I just need a wheel. Give me a wheel.
Just a little bit at where you can turn in when you want.
Yeah. See one of the riders of the tear-off going down the front straightaway, offering them clear vision. Honda is getting, let's take a look at that pass one more time.
You can tell just on the brakes, you can see Ashton coming in, and then right here, at this point right here, he has the corner.
Because DeBrino cannot turn in anymore. There's going to be a Honda in between. He has to give up that spot. The only thing was, if, say, Ashton were to go wide, DeBrino could have cut under, but, I mean, he did it perfect.
And Ashton did a great job, holding the line, not running wide, not letting DeBrino cut back under him.
Because the worst thing, too, is if Ashton Yates actually ran him to the edge of the track. then you're going like, come on, man. But he didn't do that as well. Gave him the room. And Ashton Yates moves into second, looking for that victory here at the Ridge. Not too far behind that last time around, 1.1 seconds. He can see Corey Alexander just in front. Racing is in both of those guys' families. I mean, the Alexander and Yates names in American motocross, I mean, it's synonymous with racing. And they're both doing it and trying to win here at the Ridge.
Now you see Travis Wyman starting to catch up to Andy DeBrino, like he's going to try to get that last podium spot.
See the 10 starting to close in. Finished yesterday in 7th on that Travis Wyman Racing BMW. The first BMW, Danilo Lewis back in 6th, also on the BMW power plant. And it is a long race. I mean, we're just a little over the halfway mark right now. 7 laps to go, 13 laps now down to 6 laps to go. So Travis Wyman can still be in a position as you look at the fastest lap of the race. That time around, Ashton Yates about 4/10 quicker, or about 2/10 quicker than even Corey Alexander has done in this race. So Ashton, now that he sees him in front, he's starting to turn it on a little more.
And also, you can feel that as a rider when you're starting to catch that person in front of you, and you know you can really dig deep. Then last lap he was 1.1 seconds back. This lap he's 0.8. So now you know he can definitely see him right there and really dig in. Ashton looks great on the bike. It's not moving. Yeah. He looks aggressive, but also looks really comfortable.
There's the gap progression. Corey Alexander, Yates, DeBrino, 1, 2, and 3, and you still don't count out that guy back and forth, the white bike that's back there on the BMW. We're only halfway through this race. If he can continue on that pace and pick off a rider every so often, Travis Wyman still has a shot. He's going to be gaining those points that he lost yesterday when he did finish 7th. But when you look at that Jones Honda starting to close in more and more, Ashton Yates, he's pushing. Is that bike going to be there at the end, Roger? That's the big question that nobody knows.
I think he's going to push it all the way till he finds out. The last lap around, he broke the racetrack record, and I think this lap is going to be even quicker. You can visually see how much closer he is this lap to Corey than he was the previous lap.
And talking with Josh Hayes before this race, I was talking about race strategy. He was talking about if that guy was in front, if he was in front, another purple time. We're down into 42.7s for Ashton Yates. But Hayes was telling me, he said, if I'm in the lead, I'm going to push as hard as I can till I can't no more. And right now you're seeing that from the man in second. He's pushing as hard as he possibly can with 5 laps to go. She runs out, but it's not going to be for lack of trying in Ashton Yates.
No, not at all. And also, I mean, Corey's doing low 43s. That's as fast as they went yesterday, even a little bit tenths per lap, a little bit quicker. But you can see Ashton is almost right there now.
2 box with the pit crew checking out what's happening. That was the Corey Alexander pits, wondering what the heck is happening right now. Because Corey was the pursuer yesterday and got by in convincing style. Well, he was a pursuer today, got by, and now he's not pulling away. He's being pursued by Ashton Yates. This is the, honestly, and I hate looking back to last year, this is what we wanted to see out of Ashton Yates on the new bike. This bike is enabling him to be up front and have a chance at a victory here at the Ridge, Roger. He didn't have that opportunity last year. There wasn't a bike to be had in the United States.
No, and he's kind of showing what he can do this weekend. And also, even on Thursday, during the test day, he was really fast. All the practice and qualifying sessions, he's been pretty quick. You can kind of see Corey Alexander's responded a little bit this lap, pulled out a 10th on Ashton Yates. Who knows? Hopefully Ashton doesn't have to use all of his tires and stuff up, closing that gap, and has something at the end.
Because we've seen that Corey Alexander has found places to pass. We also know that Ashton Yates can do the same thing, especially into that hairpin. Maybe something to look for. Also, if Ashton, you know, that was probably the first opportunity also that you see that pit board, and it's a really low number. You know, you see 3/10 come across that time, and Corey Alexander's going, I have to pick it up. I can't afford to keep doing what I'm doing.
For Corey, I'm pretty sure he probably assumed when he seen Jake Lewis go off the track from yesterday's race,
I can back off,
that he's going to just creep away, and you know, went up to 1.1. Next lap, 0.8. Lap after that, 0.2.
Yeah. You're going the wrong way. Love that movie. How does he know where we're going? Andy DeBrino, again, it's a local favorite. We don't even see him in the picture, back and forth. It's a runaway for these top 2 spots. Travis Wyman has worked his way into 3rd on that BMW. Never know what's going to happen up here. If Wyman can kind of get it going, may be able to take advantage of these two, start slowing each other down. One thing about that Honda, we saw it at Austin, sounded good, looked fast right off the bat. I mean, there wasn't having much to do as far as making that bike fast. It was happening quick.
It looks really fast, and also it looks like it handles well. Like this back part of the track here, these last couple corners that are pretty tight and twisty. It looks like the bike really handles through there well. He makes up a little bit of ground on Corey this last section, and almost looks like the first sector Corey could be a little bit quicker than Ashton, and you know, Corey keeps responding by going a little bit quicker each lap. What
happened to Andy DeBrino? We see him just move back. Gilbert's up to 4th now. I mean, we were talking about DeBrino right around that spot, so he's going the wrong direction. You see Danilo Lewis, I think he may be having some issues out there. Might be signaling he's having some rear tire problems. That's to the benefit of Michael Gilbert. Danilo Lewis trying to move up one more spot and get into 4th. Yep, there's DeBrino right there. Might have made an adjustment that just didn't work for today, too. Trying to get a little extra, might have went the wrong direction. 3 laps to go in this 13-lap race. Corey Alexander leads Ashton Yates and Travis Wyman. That's your podium as it stands right now. We still got plenty of racing to go. Danilo Lewis just inside that top 5, trying to get by Michael Gilbert, but now back up front. A little bit of separation this time for Corey Alexander.
That last lap through the first sector, Corey Alexander went purple, which means fastest of anybody that whole race. So it's pretty cool to see another purple sector too. These Dunlop tires in this heat holding up this far into the race.
I think he in a sector 3. The previous time was overall best. I think he was wanting to see how much he'd have left at the end. I think we're starting to get that answer now. If DeBrino's starting to lose that grip, it looks like Corey Alexander's got it, and now he's starting to put the pressure on to say, hey, can you stay with me, Ashton, or not? We're about to find out. Hear that horsepower coming down the front straightaway. The Kawasaki Ninja leads that Honda Fireblade.
In that last lap, Corey Alexander got himself into the 42s.
Less than 2 laps to go in this one. 6/10 that last time around the stripe. You got to find something somewhere.
Ashton's still there.
Yeah,
looks like he's still fighting.
He's there, but that 6/10, it might even be 4/10. But again, about a lap and a half, a lap and a quarter to go. I think this is a case of Corey Alexander was testing those tires and see if he had that grip that he needed.
Also, Corey hasn't put a wheel wrong this whole race.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked unbelievable, but I think maybe it was a little bit of a management situation by Corey Alexander, and he's managed it. Oh, we say that, and there we go. There's the first sign, and I promise you, Ashton saw that. Now is when he needs to put that pressure on him. And as a rider, when you have that happen, you don't necessarily want to get on the gas as hard.
And also, when you're behind him like Ashton is, you can kind of see, telling yourself, maybe his rear tire's going.
Yep. Gives you the confidence. It gives the guy in front, he doesn't have confidence. Every time, especially unloading that rear, every time you unload that rear and have to get on the throttle, you're going to guess, do I have it underneath me? They come down the front straightaway. Next time around, they're going to get the white flag signifying one more lap to go. Can Corey Alexander go back-to-back, or will Ashton Yates get his first win in MotoAmerica Stock 1000s? And that thing is starting to buck him.
You can see Corey, he's really
fighting.
pushing. He's looking back also to see if Ashton's still there.
Your dad said he would always get mad if you didn't get a good start or if you look back. Would you be mad at,
no.
at Corey Alexander?
Look, that was a really good save by Corey, especially in the race. And you could see as soon as he got it back in line, he was right back onto the throttle.
There's live on the right. And you see both times on the left time that thing wanting to buck around and come back around on him. Ashton is pushing hard. We really haven't seen any of those uh-ohs, but I mean, time's ticking down, half a lap to go. I mean, if he's going to do it, I mean, he almost needs to do it either in 11, and he's not close enough.
He's not close enough. 11 and also 12, 13, those three corners that he's going to come up on over this rise, he would have to be a little bit closer.
And here's some of that moments again. On the brakes into those turns, they're going to drive out. You got to be smooth on the throttle when you're starting to lose that rear, and he is babying that bad boy, isn't he?
You could see that time around Corey definitely was a little bit easier on the throttle out of 11, and the bike didn't move at all.
Now once again, light rear, really light rear, and if the rear's going, you got to hope the front's there for you at least. Downhill, driving out, he's just got to manage the right back and forth, coming down the front straightaway here. He's going to cut as many corners as he can. Now he's on exit. You ain't going to catch him. That Kawasaki's going to be flying. And going back to back is Corey Alexander with a hard charging Ashton Yates, 0.4 of a second behind. Well ahead of Travis Wyman on the BMW, but still salvaging points, making up big ground on Jake Lewis, who DNF'd after pulling off on that first lap. We're going to have a new points leader, a back-to-back race winner in Corey Alexander, and Ashton Yates. He has to be happy because we're seeing just how fast he can be, and they're getting that bike closer and closer. Is this Hunter Dunham inside the top 10? Didn't get to ride yesterday, had a mechanical issue, putting the charge on today. Jeremy Coffey, another top 10 for him on the BMW, and Hunter Dunham rounding out that top 10. That was 9th and 10th as they crossed the stripe, and look at Corey shaking his head. Yesterday, we were seeing everything, all the jubilation and everything. Right now, you're seeing some, oh my gosh. Oh.
And also, he's thinking about already, I mean, as a racer, even when you win, I have a superbike race to go in however long.
Yeah, I'm going to unzip the leathers a little bit, but the Hanos Hudson Valley Motorsport, or motorcycle, is really flying this weekend. Swept the weekend. Can he do it again in the Hanos Superbike? Because it's hard to get into that top 5 on a stock machine, but he finished 6th yesterday.
And even yesterday's race and today, he really has not put a wheel wrong.
No.
First couple laps, maybe not as good as he would like, getting 5th, coming around between 4th to 6th, but besides that, he's rode awesome this week.
Now he's starting to feel it. Now he's not feeling the pressure of, you know, the second that bike started jumping out from under him, I mean, you and I both know what was going through his mind. You know, that now it's panic mode, almost like, oh, and even that look around, that was a point of, can I do this? Can I hold him off for one more lap?
Definitely it makes you a little uneasy, but you also know you cannot slow down. You have to just, there's only one more lap left, or a lap and a half. Go ahead and get the, you know, the rest of that tire out of that tire. And bummer for Andy DeBrino, whatever happened to him in that podium battle early. Still ended up 6th, but you know he wanted to finish a little stronger than that.
Yeah, and he did finish 6th today. And again, we were getting reports that maybe it looked like the rear was getting loose on him. Jake Lewis with the start, but right off the bat, you noticed there was smoke coming off that bike.
Yeah, you can see right there on the left side, and then had a little oil in the tire, and off the track he went.
He knew it, made the right choice, pulled off, and look at the aggressive pass. And that's the one that won it for him, actually. One blow through, and pulling back on track just behind Travis Wyman is Michael Gilbert. He gave up that position. Gilbert would eventually finish 5th. Andy DeBrino was looking strong up front. When that tire let go, he just started dropping back. It could be something as simple as tire pressure, Roger. I mean, the difference between those two Kawasaki's.
Could be a lot of things different, and just from there, look at Travis making the pass back on Michael Gilbert.
There's the first moment we go, oh, this is going to get interesting on that last lap. But he was able to manage that rear tire for one more lap. That Dunlop stayed true as it had for the previous 12 laps, and Corey Alexander sweeping the weekend here at MotoAmerica in the Stock 1000s, taking max points. That's 50 for the weekend. Looking at the Geico results, Corey Alexander on top of Ashton Yates, his best finish here in Stock 1000. Travis Wyman getting that podium after having his struggles yesterday. Danilo Lewis with one of his best runs of this year too, showing he can be back up there in the front, looking for things in the back half of this season to get better and better for him. Andrew Lee, about where we've seen him this year in 7th. We thought he was going the right direction, but 7th's about where we've seen him most of this year. Hunter Dunham up there in the top 10, and Stephen Shakespeare taking the final points. 1 point goes to Shakespeare. Man, originally from England, now in Arizona. The big story right there, down on the bottom, finishing in 25th. The DNF did not finish the Altus Motorsports Suzuki. I'm curious to see what happened to Jake Lewis's machine. Michael Hill's down there at the victory podium. He does the presentation, the Honos Kawasaki team, Hudson Valley Motorcycles. Looking at that tire. Yeah, you made it. It was close. It was close. You've been there before, Roger. I mean, you've been able to hold on. I'm sure there's probably times that you weren't able to hold on that you wish you would have, but it was on the good side for Corey today.
Even after that one mistake that he made, you know, out of turn 11 with the tire being, you know, going away, he still was able to just keep his focus and keep going and not make another mistake. A lot of times when a tire goes off, you make one mistake. Sometimes you can start making them corner after corner.
Yeah, we saw just 2 total times in that last lap and a half that she started bucking him a little bit. And again, you saw him turn around after he took the white flag to see, what do I have to do to hold off Ashton Yates? Because Yates looked like he was every bit as fast as Corey Alexander, but Corey just had a little something, and he was able to manage it at the very end. And that was a gutsy ride. When you know that she's going away from you, she's going the wrong direction, and you can still hold on to that spot. That was very gutsy, but also the same thing for Ashton Yates. I mean, a tremendous ride. He looked more like Corey did yesterday. You know, he worked his way up there and put himself in a situation to win this race. Let's go down to the victory podium with the sweep and Michael Hill.
Yeah, I'm down here with a very happy Corey Alexander, just stood in front of the ice cooler down here. Corey, first of all, congratulations. A very different race to yesterday, but you were made to work for that one. Ashton kept you honest.
Yeah, you know, we basically rode the same bike we raced yesterday. It's working so well. Just hats off to my guys for putting that together for me. But yeah, I mean, I think the pace I ran the whole entire race was really fast versus yesterday. I kind of had those first 5 laps of a little bit lower pace, so I think my tire, you know, was a little more safe for the end, unintentionally. But that was my plan. I wanted to be in the front from the beginning and kind of be the one to set the pace. So worked out well. Just have to give a hats off to the whole Hudson Valley Motorcycles, Honus HVMC racing team, Ridge Motorsports, New Age Cycles, Chuckwalla Valley Raceway, Rye Helmets, Alpine Stars Leathers, Prestige Services Group, Iconica, Sal's Pizza, Galfer Brakes. Jeez, man. Really not what we expected coming into this weekend, but really happy either way. And special shout out to my mom. I missed her birthday yesterday on the podium, so happy birthday, Mom. Not sure if he caught it on FS1 yesterday, but otherwise, special shout out to Karen Lessing too. So I know she's watching at home. And thanks for all the fans that are coming out. It's so hot out there, but still fun racing.
2 from 2 in Superstock for Corey Alexander.
And 3 wins on the year, and that's going to help him towards the championship that he's trying to win after finishing 2nd last year. And you see just how hot it is out there. But boy, the hottest guy on the track was Ashton Yates at 22, finished 2nd, Michael.
Yeah, I'm down here with Ashton Yates, and he barely broke it into a sweat down here. Looks like he could have done another 20 laps. But Ashton, great ride today. Honda back on the box, and you were putting him under some great pressure there.
Yeah, my bike was feeling really good today. After yesterday, or after being quickest the first day here, I was struggling yesterday, and we made some changes and went out in the warm-up this morning, felt really comfortable, and man, the bike was working really well, and I felt really good today physically, so all that training at Heron Compound's working out and stuff, so yeah, I'm psyched and ready to go back to the East Coast.
Thanks, Ashton.
What a strong run. Something to build off of, Roger.
An awesome ride for him. New race track record, and also if he didn't have to make that gap with Corey, if he didn't have to make up that 2nd 1.1 seconds. He might have been there at the end, but he rode a great race, and he should be proud and have some confidence.
Well, after having the day he didn't want to have yesterday, we get to see Travis Wyman on the box today, and he's got a smile on his face, Michael.
Yeah, he's got a big smile on his face, and he's got a huge big fan down here just trying to get some air onto him as well. But the BMW boy is back on the box. Great ride today.
Thank you. I don't know if these guys even remember that first lap was really hairy. I feel bad for Jake. His bike was leaking so much oil, and we were all kind of piled up behind him and not really sure where to go. Thankfully, he got off when he could. I feel bad for him. You know, he deserves to be up here too. But overall, I just got to thank my team. With the setbacks we had throughout the weekend in our race yesterday, and even the Superbike race, I owe it all to my guys, Steve and Alex, my mechanic Justin, James, my riding coach from the California Superbike School, Steve Carroll from Evol Technology stepped up huge this weekend to help me. Got to thank Cortec, Helmet House, Hustle Hard Racing, Shoei Helmets. So many people that have made this happen, and all the work we put in the last 2 days to get here. My team deserves this podium, and I'm happy to be back up here with the guys. Good ride to these fellas here.
Thanks a lot, Travis. And guys, up there in the booth, there are 3 manufacturers on the stock podium.
Yeah, Kawasaki, Honda, and BMW. And we'll see those guys in the Superbike Cup later on in the Hano Superbike. But first, let's take a look. You see a smiling Corey Alexander? He's going to be smiling even more as we take a look at our point standings for the Stock 1000s here in 2021. And Corey Alexander is on top with 124 points, 8 points ahead of Jake Lewis, Michael Gilbert, and Travis Wyman, only separated by 1 now. But Gilbert in 3rd, Wyman 4th, and Ashton Yates now 34 points back. Anything can happen, Roger. That's the thing when you have many guys that can win a race.
If he could carry this form he had in that second race for the rest of the season, he definitely can work his way back into the points.
See Jeremy Coffey inside the top 15 now as well, ahead of Stefano Mesa, who wasn't here, in case you're wondering, was not here this weekend, been racing in Costa Rica, had a prior engagement. We hope to see him later on this season. So that's it for the Stock 1000. We still have 4 more races to go this weekend, but Stock 1000, congratulations to Corey Alexander. We've got more still ahead on MotoAmerica Live Plus, including the Twins Cup coming up next. It's going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be a hot one here at the Komatsu MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge.